Hey there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's Gormizer, and since a new update just came out, dropping the Vice map as well as a few other changes, I decided that it's time to revisit this tier list about a month later. And a lot of things have changed in a month. In fact, one thing I'm going to change right now, we're going to add a row, and you know what this is going to be? It's going to be S+, although I think that's going to be changing the old one. So let's just go ahead and make it and have it happen live. The biggest thing that I think has changed overall is the fact that the rogues have gotten to play out their role, and I think the game has evolved, and that makes things a little bit more interesting. I'm also going to preface this and say that all of what I am doing here is based specifically around how they are in Demolition. There are certain rogues, I think, like Lancer and Talon, that are maybe S+ or higher here in Strikeout. I'm sorry, I forgot the mode. But when it comes to Demolition, maybe they don't get to shine quite as bright. So bear with me on that part, and hopefully that's what you agree on. Of course, Strikeout, I think you're looking at your Talons, your Scorches, your Lancers, and you're trashing people because of it. But we're going into Demolition, and we're going into Anvil first and foremost. Now, Anvil's an interesting rogue, right? And immediately, I think he's almost smack dab in the middle of A and B, right? Because what he brings is a ton. His passive is amazing, being immune to so many different things. He brings the protection system, which is great at eliminating like Ronan's ballistic knife, grenades from Lancer, Glitch, Dima, etc., as well as his wall being solid. But for those of you who are wondering, they just fixed a thing. In Demolition, you're still now actually only going to get one wall per round. It was recharging for some reason, so they fixed that, which maybe makes him a little bit worse. But I do feel like Anvil, his guns are good, his perks are good, his passive's good, his active is usable whether you're on attack or defense, although a lot better on defense than on attack. I think as a whole, he fits a lot of the marks that you want. Maybe not somebody that is required on a team, but because everything he has, specifically his gadgets and his passive being so good, as well as that LMG, I'm going to put him in A. I think as of right now, I'm thinking maybe middle of the pack, maybe low A, high B, but he might end up being slightly higher in A than some of these others, even though maybe they fill a better role than him just because of what he brings. Now, Chalk's up next. Chalk is someone that I have a special place for in my heart. But at the end of the day, Chalk only does one thing well. It's close range combat. His SMG and shotgun are really good. His perks are all right. His gadgets are all right. But let's face it, when you were first playing Chalk, at least when I was first playing Chalk, I was so excited and so enamored with the fact that you could self-res. I thought it was the coolest thing. Now, this, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, people just run at you, man. You get down as Chalk, you're not getting a self-res off. You're better off using it most of the time as a health buff to try and get a trade with your Lancers, your Scorches, your Dimas, etc., more than you are going to be able to raise it. But for the most part, he's kind of underwhelming. I think you can get on a good tear as Chalk. I think in Strikeout, he's pretty good. But for the most part, here in Demolition, I'm going to plop him in B. I think there's a lot of high play potential for him, definitely a high ceiling, but he has a really low floor, which I think just makes it a little bit easier to knock him down and kind of make him useless in the game. Now looking at Dima, Dallas, Dima's after that. That's how the alphabet works. Dallas, he is by far one of the best rogues in the game, I think. A reveal as an active that respawns every time you down someone, so you can kill a flanker, then find out where the rest of the team is, get aggressive into the team, kill one, find out where the next guy's hiding, see him when he's about to peek out of cover. It gives you a lot of advantages overall. He's S tier in my mind just because of that. Then he's got decent gadgets, good guns. I love both his DMR and his AR, and I think he's got good perks on there as well. I think Dallas is S+. I think he is somebody, especially in competitive play, who is going to be on every team. If there's a pick ban, he's going to be one of the first ones that gets picked or banned because of that. I think he just hits all of the marks that you want out of somebody, and because of that, he belongs up there. I think every team that doesn't have a Dallas ends up hindering themselves just because it's a reveal, dude. It gives you way more information. Everybody can see it. It's phenomenal, and that on its own, again, just makes him so stellar. So we're going to throw him up there. Now we're going to take a look at Dima. Dima isn't bad. Dima's got good guns on him. I love the Mamba. Him and Saint share that gun. It's one of my favorite DMRs in the game. I think his grenades are good. His gadgets, more specifically. His pistol's solid. His perks are all right. His Q is okay. The cluster bomb. But at the end of the day, The best thing about him is his passive, being able to reveal people for a short period of time, but I feel like that short period of time might not be enough. That being said, it's still a reveal, and it's still built into a kit. Because of that, I'm going to have to put him up an A. Not quite S. I think that there's a few hindrances about him that maybe make him not quite S, and that really is, again, that, his gadgets are all right, his gadgets are grenades, his perks are all right, everything he does is okay. He's kind of just damage forward and then also has a reveal on the side. The reveal is helpful, but I think he's going to find his own place. Now we're going to move to Glitch. Last time I talked about Glitch, it was kind of controversial. People didn't understand why I thought he was so good, and I will admit, I think I overvalued him. I definitely think he's high A, low S, but I still think he's up there. And the reason is, especially now, he just got... instead of evade, he now has cloaked, which I think as a perk is going to make him a little bit better, but he's got the same SMG people love on Talon. He's got a Simtex grenade, which is something I personally really love, but it's his Q. Not necessarily the C gadgets through wall. That's kind of cool if there is like a Talon on the other side, or maybe Phantom using her reveal grenade. Those can be helpful, but for the most part, it's his Q in the sense that, hey, that Anvil wall, it's gone. That trench barbed wire, it's gone. Oh, Scorch wanted to hit her Q. She's not going to be able to for a little bit. Your minimap, it's disabled. It affects so much. It's a small little EMP, but also you can use it afterward. It still shows you people that are within the radius, so you can keep track of who's around you and try to use that information for your team. It's not as specific as Talon's dart, but honestly, I think because it's on him, and more specifically because of its reusability and the high potency around it, I think it's a little better than the dart. And we'll get into Talon a little bit later, but because of that, I still think Glitch is S. I don't, again, think he's as high as I valued him last time, but I think in the right team and a 4-person party, I think he is almost invaluable to have on your squad. Again, maybe more, aggressive on attack. Maybe he's better on defense. I like using him on attack because, again, it can break down a lot of these defensive holds people put up, but if you like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't, at the end of the day. So Lancer, that's who's next. And Lancer has a lot of cool everything. I love Lancer's passive, rolling, being able to reload. Her active is all right. I think movement speed as well as more quiet footsteps help you run around and you can get some good flanks going. She is just one of the best rogues in the game, I think, in my eyes. But I think this goes, once again, she is very damage forward a lot like Dima. Does that mark her down? I think her trades are a little bit easier, but she is a little more close range. Her SMG is solid, but it kind of bounces a good chunk for some long range damage. So I think she's map dependent, and I think that maybe hinders her a little bit. I want to put her in low S, but I think I have to leave her in high A, just because, again, what she brings in Demolition is solid, and in my eyes, A is you can pick this person, they're going to give you a lot of good pressure, but maybe they're not someone you have to have on the team. She's not someone you have to have, I just think she's going to be good for you, whereas I think S is someone who's going to be great for you, and S plus is someone you should have on the squad. Lancer is really good, though. Again, I think her grenades are good, her perks are good, and her passive playing along with her active make her very solid. So she's high end of the middle of the pack to me. In Strikeout, that being said, she's phenomenal. So if you're playing Strikeout, get in there and lock in some Lancer. She's solid. Phantom's up next, and she's everyone's favorite sniper. I think, again, what I said last time about her was very solid. The sniper rifle, it's the only one shot down in the game, 80 damage to a body. Also, with her passive, it delays their healing for a little bit, so you can potentially rush them or have your teammate rush them if someone's going for a flank. Her grenades are good. I think her perks are all right, although most of the money you want to spend is probably into that rifle early on to get the quicker scope. I think at the end of the day, she's still really good, and she's still someone I think in the right hands can absolutely change the pace of a fight. She forces you to play different, so I think she belongs up there in S tier alongside Glitch, even more so than Glitch. Honestly, she is the one that makes me rethink me having Glitch up there, but she is definitely just a little behind Dallas, but just over Glitch for sure. Now, Ronan's up next. I like Ronan. I think a lot of what Ronan brings into the game is interesting. Again, her guns feel good. Her gadgets feel good. Her perks are all right. Her ballistic knife is a good little ward. It can warn you either for an enemy coming around, or it could just straight up down them if they don't shoot it prior. So no matter what, you're getting some intel as to where they might be based on where you leave that. I've also noticed a lot of people use it just kind of like essentially it's a secondary grenade for you. but she's very damage forward, and she doesn't bring a whole lot to the team, I think, outside of that. She's not necessarily, your Lancers who's going to have a great flank, or your Dimas who's going to reveal, or your Phantoms who's going to one-shot kill. And I think because of that, she goes a little bit lower. She's still above Chalk in my mind, because I think what she can bring is very solid, but she could sit high B, low A, and she's right in the middle of those, B plus, A minus territory for them. So I'm going to throw her on down there. I think she's still really good. Do not get me wrong. B is still a good place to be. I think. But I don't think she is the end-all be-all. She's just someone you could pick up on your team, and it's not going to hurt you. Now, moving on to Saint. Saint, I'm torn between S plus and S, and I'm going to tell you why. First off, the drone. Anywhere on the map, you can get rezzed. That's already good. Helping Hand, which is his passive, gives you extra health when he picks you up. That also plays with the drone, so you're getting up at a higher health. So that's two good reasons I think he's solid. I'm sorry, Helping Hand is not his passive. Helping Hand is the perk I wanted to talk about. His passive still does that same thing, more health when you pick him up. Helping Hand, the perk, allows you to pick him up quicker. And that affects the drone. That's three things, maybe four things if you want to qualify Helping Hand as two, is incredible. So you're picking up people faster, whether it's with your hands or with your drone, and you can do it globally because you have that drone. Granted, the way to counter him is to kill the drone, and I think a lot of people have figured that out. You can kill the guy below him, but you can just shoot the drone straight up, and it's going to be fine. So I always have to say it. My advice for playing Saint, make sure you get Helping Hand. My advice for playing against Saint, make sure you shoot the drone, not the guy. Either way, you're going to be able to do well, and either way, I think he's really solid. So I'm going to go ahead and toss him up in S tier, just above Phantom, because I think he is borderline someone that you're going to see on every single team. Again, alongside those things I just listed, his gadgets are pretty solid, but really his guns are good. Brings the Mamba a lot like Dima, one of my favorite DMRs in the game, but also his scoped rifle is incredible at being able to track people. It's a 2x though, so it does take a little bit of getting used to, but once you're used to it, I think it's one of the better guns in the game. All in all, Saint might be my favorite person to play, and I think he belongs up there as well. Now, Scorch, I love Scorch. She's got a robot arm. That's cool as hell, and that's all you need to know. But when it comes down to it, she did just get a small nerf, 10 seconds now instead of 15 seconds on her Q, which honestly just means you can't slow roll as fast. If you're going to hit Q, you have to get aggressive, or it has to be in the good time. Still going to be winning a lot of trades, still going to be doing really well, still going to be able to do incredible. And modes like Strikeout on offense, I think she's very good. But guys, again, she's just damage forward. I think there's a lot about her that could be cool. Incendiary grenades can control the pathing of people. But at the end of the day, she, is still bringing in an SMG. That's a very good SMG. A shotgun, that's an okay shotgun. Double barrel, I'm not a big fan of overall. So, maybe that's a mark against her. And because of that, I think she doesn't get as high marks as she could. I think she's a little bit better in Ronan because of her trade potential. But, Anvil's passives and abilities, I think, could give him a little bit more. Dima's reveal, Lancer's just outright ability. Again, I think it's Lancer's passive that maybe makes her so good in my mind. Scorch is very good at trading people out. She's still A tier. But I think there's other rogues that can fill her spot and maybe do it a little bit better. Now we're going into the trenches. Chat, YouTube, whichever. This is where things get a little murky. Last time I had Talon in D. And I apologize for that, because it was not good on my part. I didn't see his utility. That being said, the people who think he's S+, I'm going to address you now. In Strikeout, you're right. He gets 3 darts in Strikeout? That's insane. Are you kidding me? It recharges. You can reposition them. In Strikeout, Talon might be the best rogue there is. But in Demolition, there's a different story to be had. He's still very good. Do not get me wrong on that part. A reveal that shows up on your minimap, a little radar that you can put in some places that people aren't going to be able to find it or shoot it. So that's already a big win for you. Being able to grab things from far away. I've seen some sick plays with that. One of the best SMGs in the game. He's got good gadgets. He's got good perks. He's very solid. But I still think, specifically because in Demolition you only get 1 dart, if you throw it far enough to get good intel, you're going to have to take a weird path and maybe get too aggressive to pick it back up. Otherwise, it's too far back to give you the information you need. So it's this weird dichotomy. In certain maps, he's a little bit better. In some maps, he's going to suffer because of that. But I think he still brings a lot of good into the game, and because of that, I'm putting him up at the top of A now. I think is where he belongs, specifically for Demolition. Again, S+ if you're playing him there in Strikeout, go lock in your Taluses. But right now, because of where he is, I think he's very solid. I'm still a little skeptical on him. I think he suffers a little bit from close range, but honestly, his SMG, along with Glitch's SMG, are incredibly great. And the only reason I value Glitch over Talon is that Glitch's ability tells you who you're seeing around you more than Talon's ability telling you where they are. This range is pretty solid, but I think knowing exactly who is aggressing into you helps you play around them even more so. So I think Glitch is still slightly above him, but Talon's still pretty great. Now we're going to take a look at Trench. I love Trench. I think he is... Maybe not, again, in Strikeout, maybe he's easy to glance over because I don't think he brings a lot. But in Demo, especially on defense, the barbed wire is really solid. They were saying they were going to toy with teammates running through it without getting penalized. So that would honestly make him a lot better, because the worst thing about Trench in my mind does come down to his lower end perks, his $4,000 and $6,000 perks, and also his active, those barbed wires. But his passive allows you to bring 2 gadgets into the field, and he, much like Anvil, has that protection system that comes through. It's very valuable against your Dimas, your Ronans, hell, your Talons, your Glitches. Anybody that has a grenade or a projectile that's thrown is going to be suffering from this protection system. And Trench, because of his passive, gets 2. He can carry up to 3. I think that's a little overkill on him, but knowing that you can also have maybe a secondary grenade that's up that high is solid for you. He's got 2 really good guns. His DMR fires like a goddamn laser, guys. I'm going to tell you, that thing is very, very solid, very stable, very accurate. So I like his DMR. I love his AR as well. The only things he suffers on are maybe where his perks come through. I think his 2 $10,000 perks are still very good. And honestly, the ones below that aren't bad. They just don't sell me wholeheartedly. But when it comes down to what he brings, I actually think he's way, way undervalued right now in the public eye. I think he's, middle of A. He brings a whole ton. Him and Anvil having that protection system makes the difference, but I think it's his passive and his guns that make him look a little bit better. And if they do that thing with allies being able to run through the barbed wire without any penalization, maybe he goes up even higher. But I think for right now, this is a solid spot. He might honestly be a little below or on par with Dima and Anvil, so maybe take these 3 with a grain of salt, but I think he has a place. And then finally, guys, we've got Vi. I love Vi, and I think I love every single rogue in this game. I've had a lot of fun playing every single one of them, and I know I only preface this when I'm about to say something bad, and that's just that Vi is super underwhelming. I love her assault rifle, but there's others that feel better in the game. I think her ability's really neat, but at the end of the day, it's kind of a worse barbed wire, right? I mean, it gives you health, takes their health away, which can play for it, but most people just dodge it or wait it out. So you have that potential to take away a certain zone, but because it disappears on its own as opposed to the barbed wire having to get destroyed, I think it's a little worse overall than that. Her perks are all right. Her gadgets are okay. Again, she plays her own style. I think she's unique, and because of that, I think she's really cool. But at the end of the day, I think she is just underwhelming. And because of that, she goes down here with Ronan and Shock. I think these 3 all do their own thing. They all do it really well. But there's other people that are going to be able to provide to you maybe a little bit more in a team-oriented version of this when you're in a party for full 4-stack than these 3 are going to be able to. That being said, I love her guns. I think she's solid. I love every rogue in the game, and I hope that you do too. I hope you're enjoying your time out there playing Rogue Company, and hopefully you've been seeing Vice a little bit overall. But let's look at this tier list and let's talk about it. Let's see your opinions down there in the comments section. Obviously, I would like it if you could leave a like and subscribe for more content. Check out my guide videos. I have a guide on every single one of these guys that is out there. Well, not quite every single one of them. I have a few guides, I should say, that are out there as of right now, and I'd appreciate it if you check them out. But also shoot me your tier lists at Twitter, or on Twitter, at Gormizer, all one word. We can talk about this wherever, whenever you want. Either way, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Again, please comment, subscribe, leave a like, all that good jazz. And we'll see you in the next video.